So here's a look at the Sunland Park Derby. It's a grade 3 run at a mile and a 16th for 3-year-olds, and it's the 9th race on the Sunday card at Sunland Park. And so if you do want to watch this one, very important to remember that, as most of these are run on Saturday. We'll look at the field, and these are mostly local horses, but we do have a couple of notable shippers rather. Stronghold and Informed Patriot, who we've seen. Informed Patriot most recently in the Smarty Jones, and Stronghold in the Los Al Futurity. But the rest of them are confined to Sunland Park. So we take a look at the field, and if we look at them from the running style, we'll go through them one at a time. A lot of luck is pretty interesting. He had a very game effort, I thought, in the Riley Allison last time. He did all the running on the front end, and it was his first route, and he did hang in there pretty well, I thought. So if he can build off of that, when you consider that Stronghold and Informed Patriot have had some trouble closing the deal, then he maybe has kind of a puncher's chance to take them all the way. Not likely, but he is one to consider in the mix, and I don't think it's a shoo-in that he's going to be dropping back right quick. So I think a lot of luck is one. He can be a very useful horse, but mainly for the gimmicks, and you want to take a shot with him on top. Who knows? In this field, maybe. We look at the pace pressers, and we'll start with No Trouble. He's a recently minted maiden, now stepping up to graded stakes company, and it's his first route with sprinter pedigree. I'll pass. Surrounded by Angels last time in his first route and second start, he attended the pace in the Riley Allison before falling back against a couple more prominent members here. And again, I don't think that was unusual. So surrounded by Angel, I'll pass on him as well. We look at Lucky Jeremy, and he ran it nicely in the Riley Allison before drawing off for the win. He looked very professional in doing so, and it was a good debut at his first route. But the class level of the race, what he ran wasn't any better than it was in the maiden, nor was the race level. So he didn't necessarily progress out of that race, and he'll have to. In going against this field with Stronghold and Informed Patriot. So while I think Lucky Jeremy can certainly factor in this race, and again, he has a puncher's chance given the difficulty closing that Stronghold and Informed Patriot sometimes have. He's one to think about, and I think you can comfortably use him at the very minimum to be in the exotics. Informed Patriot, I really like in this spot. The Smarty Jones has come back a pretty live race with Just Steel running a good second in the Southwest. And, of course, Mystic Dan came up with the win. He's held his own against better company, including defeating Lat Long, who's a horse on the come for the maiden. He's firing fresh, and he's very eligible to improve, sitting just off of a lot of luck. The one issue with Informed Patriot is he does seem at times to have trouble finishing. But this is a weaker field, and he did keep on with interest in the Southwest. It wasn't like he just threw in the towel. So perhaps if he can stay focused on the task at hand here, I think he's got a really good chance to win, and I like him as my pick to win this race. Curlin's Chaos, was just running on turf last time where he broke his maiden against Calbreds. His late fraction is improving with distance, and that's certainly a positive, even though it was on grass. He probably has a better chance, I think, in this race to factor coming from off the pace. So I think he'll likely probably be sitting mid-pack and try to make one run to get into the mix. And I think it's entirely possible. I'm going to hope that the shippers will take a lot of money so Curlin's Chaos drifts up to a more respectable value. I think at 5-1 he'd be a major underlay, but I think he can get underneath, hence the asterisk, and that's the extent of his participation in this race. Stronghold, seeing how the Risen Star is run is really going to give us a good clue about Stronghold, as he beat both Resilience and Track Phantom in his maiden score at Churchill Downs. The last effort in the Los Al Futurity around 2 turns for the first time, you'd have to consider a disappointment. particularly when you see how Winstock came back to just run a complete dud in the Southwest Stakes. And Stronghold could not get to him on that day. This is another one that while he has been improving pretty steadily, it hasn't been necessarily a textbook progression. And you got to wonder, he was scratched out of the Bob Lewis to run here in a softer spot, obviously to get away from Nisos, I would think, which you can't blame him too much for. But what I'm a little concerned about is this one finishing. And I can't get that out of my mind, and particularly after watching how poorly Winstock ran in the Southwest Stakes. So while I think Stronghold is certainly a contender here, and I think you absolutely have to use it, he could very well win it, I like Informed Patriot a little better to take this one down. The number 7, Ringo, is the only closer in this race, and while he does have Alfredo Juarez in the saddle for him, who's 27% with Roots, this one hasn't run a number even close to being competitive, and I don't see, after a number of starts where he's liable to improve to the point where he could factor in this race. A suck up for 3rd or 4th is probably the best at a huge price, but again, I don't really see it because he's just not fast enough, and he's working against a speed favoring track. So Ringo, to me, I'll toss. So let's take a look at our wagering strategy. So if we look at our wagering strategy, I think Informed Patriot is the one I want in this race. So he would be my primary key to win in all of my betting. If you can get 3-1, I would consider throwing a across the board bet on him, or maybe a little leveraged heavy win bet. I think that if Stronghold takes more money, then Informed Patriot looks a lot better, because I just have a sneaky feeling that this is his race to lose. A lot of luck should offer some pretty good value. And again, being a lone front runner with a couple horses who, while being more prominent, seem to have trouble closing the deal, may open things up for him to take them all the way. So if you can get 6-1 or better, why not throw in an across-the-board bet? I think it's very possible, considering the speed-favoring nature of Sunland Park, that a lot of luck can end up in the money. So why not? We're going to box Informed Patriot and Stronghold, and then we will key Informed Patriot with Lucky Jeremy, number 4, Stronghold, number 5, and a lot of luck, number 6. So if we get it the way we want it, we double up on the exacta. And then we'll do a trifecta. We'll key the 8 on top with 4, 5, 6. And then we'll throw in Curlin's Chaos with the 2-turn pedigree running from off the pace. I think it's a pretty good bet at a decent price. Hopefully he can get underneath. So we'll go 8 with 4, 5, 6 with 3, 4, 5, 6. In an interesting race, I think it's Informed Patriots to lose, but certainly Stronghold is a worthy contender, and I think a lot of luck maybe has an outside shot here as well.